You know, you can be on top and still lose and still be on top. If you don't know, now you know. Okay. If that's not black excellence, I don't even know what to say. What it is, what it ain't, it's your girl Ombre Alert, and I am back with another video. Today we are getting into Muhammad Ali. Okay, I watched a couple documentaries. I did miss the last one. I was mad about that. But I did watch one on YouTube, and I watched two on my TV. Metro PBS on TV. Actually go online on pbs.org, and they do have some of the documentaries on there, so go check those out. If not, I will link the YouTube documentary that I watched down below. Just to note, in that documentary, some of the audio is in and out, but you know, you can just skip through or whatever. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Muhammad Ali because I used to have this poster. If I can find the picture or the exact poster of what it looks like, I'll put it on the screen. But I used to have this poster in my room with my siblings when we were growing up, and the poster was of Muhammad Ali, and it said, "Impossible is nothing." And I just remember that being like a staple for growing up. I just remember, you know, always looking at that poster and just seeing his intensity and thinking what must be going through his head, like what's going on. And it took me until now to, you know, kind of want to figure that out. I feel like I always knew that Muhammad Ali was great, but I didn't know until now that he is the greatest, and I'll tell you why I think he's the greatest boxer of all time. Based off of the documentaries that I watch, I will tell you why I think he's the greatest of all time. I will also tell you a couple things that I've been thinking about, a couple, you know, theories that I have. Okay, so if you're ready, let's get into the video. This is going down now. So in the documentaries, it talked about his upbringing. It talked about how people knew him and his family in the neighborhood. I also didn't know he had a little brother. When they grew up, his little brother looked just like him. I thought that was cute. They also talked about how he got most of his personality from his father. His father was very outgoing. His father was very loud. His father was an artist, a painter. He painted murals for people's stores, which I thought was interesting and cool. He grew up always teaching his sons about, you know, race and the difference, even though, you know, growing up, as you get older, you kind of see the difference between race. But of course, back during Muhammad Ali's time, of course, he grew up, you know, during Jim Crow as well, so he could see the clear, you know, harsh difference between blacks and whites. So they talked about that in the documentary. The day that he first wanted to box was when he was riding in the rain with his little brother on a bike, and someone stole his bike. Then he went into a convention center and, you know, asked for help, and then someone told him, like, there's a cop downstairs. He went downstairs, and then he saw a huge boxing ring, and he saw some black kids in there, he saw some white kids in there, and then, you know, he got his mind open to boxing and, you know, kind of formed a brotherhood, you know, if you will. And, you know, he was curious ever since then about boxing. He was very dedicated to boxing since then, since he was a kid. So, you know, it just grew and grew and grew, and so did his personality. So okay, so y'all already know I did a video on the day of the fight with him and Sonny Liston. So I did that movie. What was the movie called? I forgot what the movie was called, but I'll put it right here. The conversation between Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown. Muhammad Ali is the greatest to me because he never gave up. He put his all into boxing. Like, he left it all on the floor. And I think he was the greatest because he talked a lot. Like, he talked a lot. You know, normally, you know, I'm the type of person, I don't like people that talk too much. It bothers me a lot, and it makes me not like the person. But I love when people talk a lot of stuff, but they can back it up. He's the only man on this that was on this earth that I saw that could talk that much, ish, and be able to back it up. So, he backed it up every single fight to the point where he could predict how many rounds he would win in each fight, which was amazing. He was not only a boxer, but he was a very gifted poet as well, which I thought was cool. Both comedy and like being serious. I liked his poem about truth, and that was in the documentary. For a lot of great boxers, like Sonny Liston was very good at boxing. Joe Frazier was very good at boxing, and George Foreman was terrifying, at boxing. Still rose to the occasion, whether he might have been scared or not. He still rose to the occasion. He still won the fights. And it takes a lot of courage to like get beat. Like when he got beat and he got his jaw broken, like that was like the first time he ever got really hurt in the ring after I don't know how many fights, you know what I'm saying? But he got hurt and he literally went back, worked on himself. I love that he realized where he went wrong. Like he was like, look, like I lost that fight because, not to make any excuses, but I wasn't really living up to my religious beliefs. Said that he was doing a lot of things that he wasn't supposed to be doing. He was sleeping with multiple women, and he wasn't exercising, and he was drinking bad things, probably drinking alcohol, whatever, drinking, soda, whatever the case may be, fattening things, things that you can't drink and eat when you're, a boxer, professional boxer. So I love that he was like, hey, I lost. It was my fault. I should have, been practicing. I should have did better. I love that because he owned it. That was like his first time ever losing, and he owned it. He owned the fact that he lost. He went back to the work. He went to the to the training camp, which I'm gonna get to, and he went to work, and I really like that. It showed that you can be on top and still lose and still be on top, and that's why I think he's the greatest, because many people wouldn't have came back into the ring after their jaw was broken. Like a lot of people would have just been like, you know what, that's a sign, that's it, I'm not gonna get back out there. Like that's serious. I mean, his jaw was wide shut, and he did an interview, and you could tell like his teeth was like this while he was talking. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm like, oh God. It is, he has 56 wins, 37 knockouts, and 5 losses. So that's very impressive. I just love how his losses don't even compare to his wins. Like, clearly he's winning, I did see footage of his like very last fight, and it was so sad. Like, and I only bring that up, like I don't even like to talk about that stuff because when you think about it, it really doesn't matter because of his record. But I just, oh my God, I can't even begin. Like tears was coming to my eyes as I was watching it, because I was just like, he don't need to be out there. Like a sport like that, it ages you very quickly. Anything athletic will age you very, very quickly if it's athletically demanding, as boxing. Like football, basketball, boxing, those 3 sports to me will age you with the quickness. And I love that he didn't give up, and he was that good that you couldn't tell him to stop. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't gonna listen to that. Like, what's stopping? You know what I mean? I think he said something like, I saw 60-year-olds going to work, and so what's stopping me from doing that? And I think at the time he was like 30 something. And people was saying stuff about him. People was saying stuff about him when he was 30. They was saying, oh, you can't float like a butterfly no more, you can't sting like a bee no more, like 30 years old is old. I hated that people used to do that back in the day. They used to like make people feel like they're trash at 30 years old. Like, no, I'm in my prime. 30 years old is prime time, okay? 30 years old is not old. I don't know what people was thinking back in the day. I think it's because they was on a lot of drugs and alcohol, so it's like it made them look old. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're not on drugs and alcohol like yours truly, then you're gonna look good. You're gonna be good, okay? Drink my wine every now and then. I might, if I'm in a party environment, I might have a shot. But I am the life of the party. I don't need none of that. But anyway, last fight was really crucial because he still stayed, and I could tell like I could tell it was time for him to stop. Like he, oh my God. I mean, he won his first championship in 1960 or 1961, and then from then on he still fought and up until the 1980s. I was like, damn, like it's been like 20 years since you won the first time. And that's another thing, he won the championship like twice or three times. Who does that? Like, most people, their goal is to do it once, but he did it like 3 or 4 times, so that's incredible. Leads me to further beliefs. So I also did see, you know, unfortunately, that he developed Parkinson's later on, after he retired from boxing. I saw that, and it really made me sad, but at the same time, it made me respect him so much more, because it takes a lot of, you have to be a really strong person to come out in public and have this, feel like something like Parkinson's disease is not talked about enough, and you know, it's not enough awareness about Parkinson's disease and how to treat it and how to, you know, maintain a life. And he stayed alive for a long time after he was diagnosed. I saw a commercial recently, which makes me, you know, I was going to do this video anyway, but this made me want to do it a little bit more, what I'm about to tell y'all. So I saw a commercial about Parkinson's disease, and people that work on farms and people that live near farms could possibly, you know, be diagnosed later in life with the unfortunate disease as well. And it had me thinking about his training camp, where it was and how rural it was, and how he said he would run past farms and stuff like that. So it kind of made me feel like, is it possible that he developed Parkinson's from farms? You know, and I'm not saying that it didn't come from the boxing, but I'm saying that what if him being so close to a rural area so much, you know, made the disease progress? And I only say that because who knows what they were using back in the day to preserve the foods, you know. And this was a commercial I seen today, so if in my mind I was like, okay, well, if people can get Parkinson's disease from working on farms, living near farms today, from the chemicals and everything that's in the air, then what was they using back in the day? It had to be a million times more bad. You know what I mean? So it just made me think, like, is it possible that it could have been embedded in him before he even retired? You know, is it possible that that's where it came from? Not saying that, you know, his boxing career had nothing to do with it, but I am, you know, I'm just throwing some ideas out there. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm just creating some critical thinking here. I just want to know what you guys think about that, because I thought about it and I couldn't get it off my mind. I was like, wait a minute, like, what if this is where it could have possibly came from? Because he was near farms. I did just look it up on Google. I saw a lot of food markets and farms nearby where his camp is still today. And I was just like, you know, even in the documentary, you could see him talking about his camp. You could see him running by his camp. You could see him running by farm. You could see him running and you see a cow. You know what I'm saying? So it just made my wheels start turning. I was like, wait a minute. You know, what if that's linked in some kind of way. You know what I mean? Never know. I'm just throwing it out there. Food for thought, you feel me? It just, to me, I feel like I was so touched. I was so beyond touched by this documentary. I just was like, wow. It's so inspired by a person capable of fighting like that. Like, I was watching the way he was fighting, how he was moving his arms, how he was moving his feet. And honestly, it's like, it's amazing. I've never seen anybody move like that. I mean, and I'm from the streets. You know, it was like a mixture of the streets, but it was like a particular boxing style that I've never seen before. I feel like people in the hood now, I can't say now because people don't really fight no more, unfortunately. I'm just saying I would like to see fights as opposed to gun violence in the streets. That's all I'm saying. Not that I would like to see fights. We don't want to see fights at all. But we also don't want people to get murdered either. So that people have, or men and women have adopted his style of fighting because of him. You know what I'm saying? Like that lean, that's something that I've seen so many times in the hood. And it's, you know, of course, after Muhammad Ali. So I feel like, you know, it's a survival tactic. You know, nobody, you know, did that. Like, I see dudes, you know, attempt to fight just like him on the streets every day. It's really like a survival move, a survival tactic, you know what I'm saying? Also, having your hands low is very like a survival thing too, because, you know, in boxing you're supposed to protect your face and everything like that. I'm not no expert, so just, you know, chill. But I'm just saying, like, you're supposed to protect up here, you know, your face, your neck, all of that. So he came out, you know, fighting low, leaning back. They was like, whoa, you ain't supposed to do that. You're supposed to, like, duck and everything like that. So I was impressed. I'm always impressed by black people doing their thing. I want Parkinson's for anybody, but he carried it with such humility, though. Like, when I seen him light the torch at the Olympics, I was like, wow. Like, he just has so much confidence. You know, you could tell his confidence was radiating. And he has Parkinson's disease, and he's just up there, you know, doing his thing. He's getting a standing ovation, and it's just amazing. Like, and I was kind of wondering too why we didn't see him anymore after a while. And, you know, maybe it was for the best, just because I feel like he spent his whole career in the public eye, you know, being, of course, adored by millions of people. But, you know, I just didn't want that for him, you know, at all, because, you know, I wanted him to have more peace, a more peaceful transition to not boxing anymore. So it did make me a little sad. You can't compare Muhammad Ali to nobody, really. The thing is that I've never seen George Foreman young before. I've always seen George Foreman on the grill commercials. Like, that's my era. Like, if you was born in the 90s, then you know, like, that's all you know of George Foreman. So when my dad told me that George Foreman was a boxer, I really did not believe him. I was like, what? It don't make sense. So why is he, you know, selling grills now? Like, what? But yeah, he was a real something. He was something else. It was scary seeing him fight, because he would aim to knock someone out in the first 2 rounds. It was scary. That's a scary fight. I wouldn't want to fight him at all. But I wouldn't want to fight Muhammad Ali either. But that's the thing. Like, that's the thing about boxers and being tough, is that you got to really go up against someone that is great. I think he said something like that too. He said something like, if you don't fight anybody that's great, how will you ever know you're great? And that's, you know, if you're not challenged, and that goes for anything, if you're not challenged in any kind of way, then how are you going to be the best, you know, at it? So I try to apply that to my everyday life, and be the best at what I do. And whether it's YouTube or it's, you know, having my own business or whatever, it's always something I can improve on. It's always something I can learn. And there's a particular power that comes from him that he radiates. He radiates some superhuman power, and it's something that I really adore, and I love his personality. He's very real, very down to earth, and I'm glad that he also showed that as well, because most of the fighters, you know, I guess they equate seriousness to professionalism, but I feel like it is important to show who you are, you know, anything that you do, to show your personality, to show who you are. I definitely would prefer a loudmouth Muhammad Ali as opposed to a Floyd Mayweather, someone that clearly just cares about money and materialistic things, and that's it. I just saw the crowds of people. They were so excited to be at these fights, and I think somebody was saying, like, I'm so glad I came, even though, like, Muhammad Ali had lost that time. He was like, I'm so glad I came. This is the best money I ever spent. Like, ugh. The days when you could spend your money and it was worth it, like, well worth it. Like, I would have framed the ticket and everything, I'm trying to tell you. I mean, I'm praying that we can, you know, instill something into the youth so that we can have great people too. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we do have great people, but most of them are gone now, unfortunately. You know, I've grown up on some great, you know, people, but they're gone now, you know, like, ugh. So I'm just, I say that to say, whatever you want to do, do it. Whatever you believe in, believe it. Set your mind to it and attack it. Just like Muhammad Ali was attacking people's asses, okay? But with all that said, I'm going to close up the video. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Really top of the dome, you feel me? Let me know how you guys feel about this topic. Let me know how you feel about my theory about his Parkinson's disease. I was a little nervous about inputting this into the video because I don't want to be disrespectful ever. So, you know, just keep the comments respectful on that part. But let me know how you feel about Muhammad Ali. Let me know, you know, when you first saw him, what did you think? Because this isn't my first time seeing him, but this was my first time seeing several of his fights back to back, and how great he was. Like, I've seen clips, but I've never seen, like, you know, his fights, like longer videos. So, and more about his life. So this was my first time seeing all of that in all of its glory, because I did watch the movie Ali with Will Smith. But comment below about that, because I just was paying attention to Will Smith. Name a movie. This is another thing I want y'all to do. Name a movie down in the comments that you've watched and was like, I can't get past this person, this actor, because I know who they're trying to portray, but I can't get past the actor. Ali was one of those movies for me. I just kept seeing that it was Will Smith, and I couldn't even open my mind to, like, don't get me wrong, it was a good movie, you know what I'm saying? It could have been better if it was somebody else, somebody that we didn't recognize, somebody that I didn't recognize. I don't know, y'all might feel differently, but I'm just saying that I couldn't get past the fact that it was Will Smith. I hope that this new movie he's doing, no, I think the new movie that he's doing is going to be good. But what I'm saying is, couldn't get past the fact that he's Will Smith to focus on Ali. Like, he did good with his personality because Will Smith is goofy. I got that part. But on the serious tip, like, I don't know. It missed the mark for me. But anyway, make sure you comment below. Let's continue the discussion, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.